In John chapter 6:15, people wanting to make Jesus king shows that is historically verifiable, because we know that in first century Judaism there was a lot of nationalism for Israel. In John 6:18, sudden squalls happen very often in the Sea of Galilee. John chapter 6:53, the idea that Jesus commands that you eat his blood and flesh is something that would not have been made up. John chapter 6 verse 66, the rejection of Jesus by his disciples is very unlikely something that they would have invented. John chapter 7 verse 12, the idea that in John chapter 7 verse 12, some said Jesus was a good man, some said he deceived the people. These things would not have been made up. They are genuine historical scenarios, because later redactors would have kept those out and just said that Jesus was God. John chapter 7 verse 20, that people said he was demon possessed is an unlikely invention. John 8:48, some people said that Jesus was like a Samaritan, is a slander that fits the historical situation of the animosity between Jews and Samaritans. Jewish people wanting to stone Jesus is historically true, because that's what would have happened in his day in John 8:31 and 59. The pool of Siloam has been confirmed by archaeology in John 9:7. Authenticity can be seen in John chapter 9, 13:39. The threat of the Pharisees throwing people out of synagogue was a likely scenario. John chapter 9:17, the man who is healed calls Jesus a prophet, is historically reliable because it shows an embellishment of history. John chapter 10, 22, 23. John chapter 10, 22, 23, Solomon's colonnade is mentioned by Josephus several times. John chapter 11, 18, the distance between Bethany to Jerusalem is accurately recorded in the Bible, John 11, 18. The fact that Mary and Martha were comforted by the Jews in John 11:19 shows that it's historically reliable, because later on, after the resurrection of Christ, there was a hostility between Christians and Jews. So why would the Christians write something positive about the Jews? So it shows historically reliable. Lazarus' burial and the way he was wrapped shows exactly the way first century Jewish burials were in John 11:44. In John 11:47 we get an exact description of the Sanhedrin, which was what we could find concerning the Sadducees, Pharisees and chief priests in the time of the first century. John 11:49, Caiaphas was high priest of that year. We get that from Josephus. In John 11:54, the obscure village of Ephraim is mentioned by Josephus as well in John 11:54.